If you're a Tennessee basketball fan and you have a pulse in your body, tomorrow night is your game. Tennessee, Kentucky, Rupp Arena, 8:30. We're going to talk about this thing after this intro. The Vols, the Cats, Rupp Arena, it does not get much better than that when it comes to basketball, SEC basketball, Tennessee basketball. As we look at it from a rivalry standpoint, this is the game in Tennessee series. It's a game regardless if it's at the old Food City Center, if it's at Rupp Arena, it's still the game. My name's Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. I'm happy to be back with you after a couple days off on here. Sometimes we have just commitments, things we have to do. Just haven't had a time to record the last couple days, but it's nice to refresh. It's time to look back on what's working, what isn't on this channel. Come out January, 130 subscriptions on this. I want to grow this thing. Last week, though, it's dropped off a lot. So I've got to look, what do I have to do better to get this thing going? So we're going to look at it. We're going to jump into this thing first with this preview. Tomorrow around lunchtime, I'm going to release a video talking about keys to tomorrow night. I won't get into all that tonight. I'm just going to break this game down. But like always, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this out. Thank you for all your support on this. But Tennessee, Kentucky tomorrow night, we'll get into this thing. This is one of those matchups for Tennessee. It reminds me of Florida. It reminds me of Alabama in respect, because you got high-scoring offenses, you got defenses that rank lower. Both teams, Tennessee and Kentucky, coming off of midweek losses that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. South Carolina comes into Knoxville, wins that game. Florida goes into Lexington, wins that game. I did not see either one of those coming. And I'll go back to my South Carolina preview last week. I really thought Tennessee, although South Carolina's been playing better basketball, nothing about them scared me. But they were able to control that game. They controlled the boards. They made Dalton Connect did his thing. Nobody else really did. I mean, Vescovy had 10 points, but I'm sorry. I can't get that excited that he's scoring 10 points. He's a fifth-year senior. He's been a key cog in this lineup. More's expected. He did his thing. I'll give him credit. He did his thing. What I like, though, this team fell short. You saw Connect. One of the things I touched on in my recap was their free throw shooting. The free throw shooting's hurt them lately. Connect, for all he's done well, he was 6 out of 10 the other night. This team was just above 60%. Had they shot their free throws well, they win that game. It was, albeit a close game, but they still win that game. Connect out there shooting free throw. Jemai Meshack, and I still stick to what I've said, and any of you that have listened to me since I've launched this, I think Jemai Meshack could add some offensive game. He has some offensive game, and that's not his role on this team. It's turned over to other guys. He's out there getting shot. Josiah Jordan-James, it hadn't worked for him getting in SEC play. He's out there getting up shots. Where's Zakai Ziegler? Where's Jonas Adu? These are the two guys I'm looking for. Where are you at in getting shots at? Ziegler, 2 out of 4 on free throws. Did nothing the other night. His defense that he's known for, I'm calling it on here. I'm telling you right here on it. When you look at his defense, on ball, great. When it starts shifting around, he drifts away. When it gets his other side of the court, he drifts towards that middle. Left the guy open the other night for South Carolina because he drifted towards the middle, drained the three that pretty much iced the game. Yeah, Connect did his best to bring it back. but it was too much for them. Don't get me wrong, I love Zakai Ziegler. I love what he does down there. But he has to be better in terms of off-ball defense. On-ball, great. Off-ball, not so much. Same with Vescovy. Josiah Jordan-James, he's had like 10 points in 5 conference games. That's not acceptable. He has to be better. Where do they shift that? But if you look at that game the other night, it was basically Dalton Connect. Vescovy had double digits. He's had them in 3 straight games, and then nothing else from this team. We've got to see more from it. Rick Barnes was asked about Adu, and it was like Mississippi State. He's like, I don't understand what happened. We felt we were prepared for this. And for Tennessee to be successful, they need Adu to do his thing. Adu can have an off game and be close to a double-double. There's some games I thought he was kind of off and still had a close or right at, maybe even a double-double. You cannot have games like you had against South Carolina the other night where he's like 6 points, 5 rebounds. Awaka had a better game than Adu. They played those two together a little bit the other night. I still don't know the best plus-minus lineup. I would love to see that because if you go to utsports.com and they break down this Tennessee-Kentucky game, some of these stats are fascinating. I mean, they get into Kentucky's lineup, their best lineup, their most played lineup, their most best plus-minus lineup. That stuff to me is pretty fascinating. I'm not an analytics guy. I'm a baseball guy. But I had a guy try to tell me last year, Mike Trout's the best player of all time. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard. That's from an analytics perspective. And I know I'm getting off topic, but I'm just giving you an example of that. Stats tell the story. I am fascinated with certain stats. I'm not fascinated with analytics that just try to make you try to take something here and raise it up what it's not. But looking at Kentucky's lineups, Kentucky has 5 guys averaging double digits per game. They're one of the top 10 scoring offenses per game, but they give up close to 90 points per game. Out of their guys who are their top contributors, and if I want to go over here and look at it right now, if I look at this, their top guy is Antonio Reeves at 19.4 points per game. He's a transfer. Rob Dillingham, freshman. Trey Mitchell, 12.9. He's a transfer. Reed Shepard, DJ Wagner. All 5 of those, 5 of those guys for the season are at 12 points or above. Justin Edwards, if you follow Tennessee basketball, you follow Tennessee recruiting. You remember that name, top 10 prospect last year out of Pennsylvania, Philly area, if I'm not mistaken. Chose Kentucky over Tennessee, 7.7 points per game. And he's in more, if you look at Kentucky's most played lineup and some of these stats, it's Edwards, Mitchell, Reeves, Wagner, and Bradshaw. That is their most played lineup. That's not a big lineup. So how does that line up if Calipari goes to it? All right. It's a good lineup, but it's not Tennessee's most played lineup. And I don't go off stat. I don't have stats to back it up. Adu, Dalton Connect, James, Vescovy, Ziegler. That has to be Tennessee's most played lineup. But you factor in Meshack. That guy plays a lot of minutes. At what point do you factor in? Could Tennessee go Awaka and combat for that? Awaka back in the summer played for Team USA, and I can't remember what games it was. He was dominant. I mean, as far as what he did on the boards, he scored well. His problem is, and it's been talked about in multiple articles, foul trouble. So how does he get that under control? He had it under control and had more minutes. Tennessee needs Awaka. They need Jonas Adu. Kentucky has problems they present, and this is an excellent team. Top 10 team by any means. As you know, I cover Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee homer. You know who I'm going to pick when I get to it here in just a moment. My comparison is Florida, Alabama. Theoretically, not even theoretically, I think there was a call that went Kentucky's way at Florida that enabled Kentucky to win that game. You could say Florida had the sweep on them, but I look at Alabama, top of the conference. Tennessee made them look pedestrian, and that's a good team. That wasn't a case of they were overrated. Tennessee played very well, made them look pedestrian, and beat them handily in Knoxville. What happens on the return game, we'll see. We don't know on that. But I compare to the Florida game where Tennessee run them out of the building. Dalton Knecht had 39 points. Knecht's going to go off again tomorrow night in Rupp Arena. He's going to go off. I could make a bold prediction, say he's going for 40. And it could happen. I look at road games this year. I feel confident in saying Dalton Knecht is going to have a big game. What do the rest of these guys do? Zakai Ziegler's been a road guy. He's had some big road games this year. He's chipped in a lot in these road games. Based on the statistics, the points per game, the points allowed per game, Kentucky scores a lot. The X factor is going to be the officiating. You know what happens when you go to Rupp Arena. You know what happens there. All right. How does Tennessee combat that? Like I said, Rick Barnes, 10-7, prior to last year, 10-9. I want to bring some more numbers tomorrow when I release. And some of these are odd. When they play as top 10, there's all these things. Tom Hart, Jimmy Dykes on the call tomorrow night. When Jimmy Dykes calls the game, Dalton Knecht goes for over 31 points per game. Tennessee tomorrow night, 87. Kentucky, 83. The Vols go to Rupp Arena. They're going to put another loss in this week on Kentucky. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be in that win column. Things will be good again. Would I bet money on it? Nope. Am I a homer? Yep. My name's Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'll be back with you tomorrow around noon to release a video talking about keys to tomorrow night. I'll be back with you after that game, which will probably be closer to 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Hopefully you'll view it on Sunday. Moving forward, I'm going to try to make a schedule, release some videos around 10 in the mornings through the week and mid-afternoon because it's we hit a little path this week and not gaining any subscribers. Wasn't a good week subscriber-wise for the channel, but it's part of it. It's part of growing this channel. Been a good month. We're in February. Hopefully this thing will get going. But my name's Frank Rock. Happy Friday, and go Vols.